Hello and welcome to the Amazing Tradies Business Show, a Stronger Than My Excuses production. I'm Marcus Crowick and I'm your host for this series of shows. We're coming to you today from the Gateway Motel in Rutherford in the Hunter Valley of New South Wales. And today we're going to be talking about time management, and my guests on the panel today are Matt McFarlane from 2M Electrical. Welcome, Matt.
Hi, Marcus.
Mitch Beattie from Mad Cat Marketing, Digital Marketing. Hi, Mitch.
Hi, Marcus.
And Steve McBeath, the Principal of CSBM Real Estate at Thornton. Welcome, Steve.
Thanks, Marcus.
Great to have you all along, and thanks for joining us today. So the topic again today is about time management, and to define what we might mean by that, I will start with you, Matt. What's time management mean to you?
Yeah, time management is having a system in place so that our jobs are in a system, okay. And the way everyone knows where they have to be at a particular time and day during the week. So
controlling what gets done with who does what by when.
When
is yeah, that'd be a simple definition of it for there. Yeah, okay. Mitch, same for you. Steve, same for you.
Yeah, much the same.
Yeah, that's pretty much. We run an electronic diary so that the whole staff know what's going on throughout the day.
And everyone can see what's...
And everyone can see
everyone,
on their mobile, on their computers. It's all on that.
Yeah. Do you have the same thing, Matt? You've got a few people who work with you?
Yeah, I use a program called ServiceMate, and it can be used on your phone, your tablet, or a desktop at home.
So all of your employees have access to it, so can they see everyone else's jobs?
Yeah, they can see where everyone is. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So is it more than organising the jobs for you, managing time?
Yeah, so it's just a matter of knowing where people are and how many hours are on a particular job and what they did, and if they want to write any notes in that, it's all there.
Have you worked in your own business at a time, or for anyone else, where that sort of operational management hasn't been in place?
Yeah, it has, yeah. Yep.
You have worked in somewhere, or it's been that case?
It has been that case. The first company that I worked for and did my apprenticeship was just kind of a smallish company, and it was just, phone calls and go here, and it was hard to keep track of where people were and how many hours and what materials they used and that.
So what problems did that cause?
It caused, how many hours, and the boss trying to work out how many hours to allocate or to invoice to the client, and to keep on track of where materials were going. So.
Yeah, so does that lead through then when you're talking about the invoicing the materials?
Yep.
The boss has given a quote, don't know whether the job's actually being done within the time frame, that sort of thing?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, okay, and the cost of that to the business if you run over time?
Oh, just you're not making money, it eats into your profit, and yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Mitch, for you, time management, organising your sitting at a desk most of the time when it's doing the actual operational, the technical part of the business, your team is at desks in front of computers making it happen. How does time management come into your world? And it might be more than the operational technical part of what you do.
Yeah, well, time management is a huge part of business, not only for operations, getting to know where your employees are up to, how projects are tracking, knowing what projects we have to work on, but then also managing your time personally as well. So breaking up and having time for family, friends, going to the gym, all of that. So yeah, there's a number of tools that I use personally to help with tracking and managing both the team and my time.
Have you had a time in your business where you haven't been managing your time and time's been managing you? Like it's been out of control?
Yeah, definitely. Early on, starting out just by myself, having the pen and paper to-do list was the most that I probably managed my time, and it just creates that stress of, what project should I be working on, and which one gets the priority, and then you end up not working on any of them.
Okay, so you don't get anywhere. And do you not work on any of them for a long period of time, so you're not getting to that life part that you were talking about?
Yes, that's right.
So a long time not achieving anything, but being busy during the day.
That's it. Yeah.
Not productive. Steve, what happens in real estate if you're not managing your time?
The main thing is going to appraisals and meetings. You need to be prepared before you go there. If you're not prepared, you don't come across professional, and you're not going to get the job. Mm-hmm. So you've wasted that time going anyway if you're not prepared. Yep. So you need to spend, before going to an appraisal, probably half an hour to 45 minutes getting prepared for that job. I usually do that the day before, just
Yeah.
so that I know that there's an appraisal coming up tomorrow. I'll do it today, just so that you're right to go. And you're not, if you don't have it done on time, you're rushing before you go to the appraisal, and then you can be flustered while you're doing the appraisal. You don't come across well.
Yeah, okay. So you lose jobs.
Yes,
you basically
absolutely.
You might as well have not gone if you're not.
May as well not go. Yep.
If you're not spending the time organising yourself to go,
Yep.
because I hear that, and I'll get a comment from you on that with jobs, Matt, in a second. If you're not spending the time organising the time you're going to spend,
Yep.
you're actually just wasting the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Happens in the trades business, your electrical business. You've got job, I mean, you work on big jobs as well as little residential jobs. If you haven't spent the time to plan, what difference does that make for the business?
The jobs will take longer. You won't get as many jobs done in a week, so therefore you're not making as much money. So
Yeah.
if you can be as efficient and have those jobs allocated, then you'll
The expenses are ticking over every minute,
Exactly,
whether
yeah.
you're bringing in the money or not.
Yep.
So you've got to make the most out of the week. Do you have times, I've seen in so trades businesses again, that, as it's our specialty, let's stick with them, that people are going to jobs, they haven't planned the job, even if they know what it's about, and they're going, oh, I need to run to the local hardware to buy this thing, and then 30 minutes disappears as they go off. You've seen that sort of thing happen as well?
All the time. So it's just a matter of looking at the job, looking at the description, making sure that you've got the materials in place for that job for the next day, or on the day or the morning that you turn up to do the job. So, driving half an hour to pick up something, driving half an hour back, you lost an hour easy there where you could have been on the tools working.
Yeah, again, it's an hour that you're still paying for,
Yep.
all of the costs of the business that you've got to try and recover.
Yep.
So time management wins you jobs, keeps you on top of the jobs. As you said before, you know how long a job's meant to take. You just don't go and, because you can suck up the day. We talk about the law of vacuum, or Parkinson's law in profit first. If you've got a day to do it, you can take a day to do it. You've got 2 hours to do it, you can take 2 hours to do it.
Yep.
Yeah. Mitch, we're talking about the operational part or technical part of doing the work, but there's other parts of the business as well, and I'm addressing this to you because you're a marketing person. Businesses can get stuck doing all the operational part and forgetting that time's got to be set aside for their marketing. Even if they're outsourcing it to you, they still need to make time to do that outsourcing. What sort of problems do you see with people with not spending the time on things other than the operational part of the business?
Well, they just get stuck, I guess, in a cycle, and their business doesn't end up growing or achieving the goals that they're after, or they just become stuck essentially because they're not getting to spend the time in the areas they need to be focusing to help grow and manage their team.
Yeah, okay. So it's realising that it's more than just operations as well that has to be managed to get the marketing done. I mean, you'd see that one of the constant comments I'd hear from people developing websites is that the client isn't getting content back to them to be developed. They're very busy out there on the next job or winning the next job, whatever it happens to be, but they're not getting that back. So the more, let me call it passive marketing, once they've done that, then the website, the Google ads, whatever you're running, takes over for them in a way, but they've got to actually make the time to, make the time, they've got to make the space in their day, because time's the same for all of us.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, so spend the time there. Steve, long career in other organisations as well, and you've run a crew of 18 in where you were before, organising rosters as well as what people are doing for the day. How does time management affect as your team is growing?
The main thing is with me is that I need to know where staff are. They need to know where I am. They need to know whether they can contact me by phone or to wait off another half an hour or send me a text message, whatever. So the main thing is that so we all know, we're all on the same boat and the same page as to where we are at any one time.
So some people might come in and say, oh, you're micromanaging, wanting to know where somebody is every minute of the day. What's your thoughts on that?
Look, there's a difference between micromanaging and understanding where your staff are. It's one of those things that I think you do need to know where they are and what they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty lucky that the majority of my staff are in-house. They're not out on the road doing work. If they're out on the road, they're with me usually. So it's more to manage my time. They're there to help me manage my time and make my job a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing you've got to look at.
When you talk about easier, if it's not in place, what's going wrong? What's happening?
If things aren't getting done, it goes back to the stage where you're not prepared for an appraisal or a job, or you're running late. I'm always on time to every appointment that I can. The main thing is if you're held up somewhere, make a phone call.
Yep.
Let them know where you are. Don't just turn up 15 or 20 minutes late and say sorry. You've got to let them know. If you can't, get your staff to ring up and let them know you're running late. And it's all about being professional, making sure that you're where you are when you're going to say you are.
Yeah.
You say you're going to be there,
So
be there.
all of these things, all of the topics that we've talked about throughout this whole series with various people and our superstars, Mitch, who's been on a number of these shows, the topics, the issues and the answers overlap, meld together, whatever it happens to be. We were talking about sales in the other episode of this, and part of that was the communication to get back to people, which seems to be, well, you're not managing your time if you're not, first of all, allocating time for it, if you're busy just out there doing the technical thing again. Is that part of the problem people have with?
I think people get complacent and they think they'll be able to handle it. And the busier you get, the more you've got to be stringent in getting your diary right.
Yeah.
If you've only got one job in the day, well, you can just run around that job. But if you've got half a dozen jobs in a day, where you're going out and seeing people all day, you need to be strict on your diary so that you know you're going to be where you are. And don't make an appointment if you think you're going to be late. Don't make it. Make it a bit later.
Yeah.
Don't make it.
Yes,
That's the main thing.
And that would then come across, like Mitch, in your world, the digital space, particularly with COVID, you're not sitting in an office together doing the work. People are at various sites and you're communicating. You might have video going to communicate with one another, email. How important is it to manage where people are? Obviously you know where they are, but up to in the jobs and what's happening in the day for you in controlling your team doing these things.
Yeah, well, it's hugely important if we're dealing with a number of clients and they're all wanting to know where they're up to with their projects. I've got to know where our team is up to on each of those projects as well. So having something central that I can come back to see, right, well, this is where we're up to. I can then go back to our customers and answer any questions.
So do you use an app, program, whatever you call it, to keep on top of where people are up to?
Yeah, I use a program called Asana. So it's a project management software, and it lets you set up templates and create projects and then add in team, and then everyone can communicate in its one central place and we all know what's happening and can see it all there together.
Yeah, so Steve, you're the same. You've got digital in place so people can access it, computers, phones.
Yes. We use a system called Time Tree.
Yep.
Seems to work okay for us. We've been using it for probably 2 years, a bit over 2 years now. And it's something you can use on your phone, on your laptops, any of your devices. So anywhere you are, you can find out what's going on.
Yeah, yeah. And Matt, we come down to you. I mean, you use apps as well so that everyone knows what's going on.
Yep. Yes, I use ServiceMate. So if I have a customer that calls me and wants to book in a job, I can take down their details, put it on the app, and then book them in straight away, and I can see exactly when I can fit them in.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we've said there's one thing in the business that I want to talk to you about, and then we're going to move on a bit from business, because we've said the first part's managing the technical time, the operational, the thing that you actually do. We've talked about, well, you also need to have the marketing in place. There needs to be some admin in time. There's all the various elements of the business that need to be put in there. Managing that time, other than managing the team, what they're going to be doing, how do you communicate to them what's on for the week, other than it's just in the calendar?
Yeah, so we have team meetings, once a week. So we'll all get together, whether it's on video or we're on site together, and we can go through and say, this is the jobs coming up. and then everyone can look at it, and then everyone knows where to be and what is in place for the week.
So having those meetings in place, as well as just having it in the calendar, do you believe, have you actually been able to see that makes a difference to productivity, stress levels, just organisation of the week by making sure that takes place?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. That way everyone's across what's happening on different jobs. People may not be on the same job, or they may be on a different job for 1 or 2 days and then onto another job. And then that way, if we have the meetings, everyone can say what's going on the job, and then at least someone knows what's happening on that particular job, even though they're not actually physically on the job. Yeah,
okay. Now come to the most important part of it for me. We say business is the vehicle to deliver you the life that you want to have. It's there. We're not being employed by other people, all business owners here. You're running a business to earn some money so that it can pay for your life, and goals out there to help you reach your goals. Part of that then is that it's not just about organising the work of the workday, it's organising the time that you're at home, and you're really good at that. So if you wouldn't mind, just tell us about who you've got at home, and how do you manage to get the time to spend with them?
Yeah, so I have a wife and I've got an 18-month-old son, and having a default diary or a timetable, call it whatever you want, in place. I have allocations of certain things are blocked off during the day, so I know that I need to be at a particular place at a particular time, whether it's on the tools, time to be working on the business, having meetings on particular times, and then having time for myself, and then having time to be there for my family. So having that structure in place keeps me accountable, and it works well.
Yeah. So in sales, and Steve's mentioned it a bit today, there's that time to send out the quotes and do those sort of things. So you actually have a time set down that this is when I'm going to do this.
Yeah, I have a half an hour allocation as soon as I get home, that first half an hour, and I have a checklist of certain things that I have to do. And some days it may take me 5 minutes, or it may take me that full half an hour, but it keeps me accountable that the invoices are going out, the quotes are done for the day, and all my paperwork, the job management, service mate is up to date. So
yeah. So would you say, because I can hear tradies say, and I certainly work with tradies where they'd love it if they could get their quotes done in half an hour. A landscaper might spend a day coming up with a concept design that they're going to present to a client. So they'd argue, well, it's not half an hour. But so how do you put it in place if you're someone that needs to spend more time doing quotes?
We just have to allocate that time. Instead of being on the tools and working, block out that half a day or that kind of full day if you have to do that quote and you need time.
Yeah, so here's the key thing. You're like many days of the week, and we don't say it always works out, you've got to go and be on the tools, and sometimes you work until 6 o'clock at night. But the general finish for you, your general diary, is having you get home at a certain time of day. Is that correct?
That is it.
So a lot of business owners out there keep working, and what I'll hear from them is that they're regularly home 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. They've still got their invoices to do, all those things to do. What is it that enables you to be home at a time to see your wife, see your young son? What is it? What's the difference?
Just having a structure in place to be able to go to work, know exactly what time I'm going to be home, and then by having the right people in the right places in my business, working for my company allows me to be able to do work for me, and as the business grows, be able to put on the staff to make time for family time. Okay.
But it sounds to me like your decision has been about, I've got my wife, I've got my 18-month-old son, you've got a new house that you've moved into up here. Your decision is, this is how I want my business to work because this is how I want my life to work. Is that what it comes down to?
Exactly.
Do you think that your business actually works better because you've made those decisions about what you want your life to look like, that you want to be home with your wife and son and enjoying your beautiful home? Does the business work better because it's structured around delivering you the life you want?
Yeah, 100% it does,
Yeah, okay. It's a really interesting because it's the twist, isn't it? The other thing I've heard you say is when you're talking about work. So a lot of people will say to me, and you've heard me say this, that people will say to me that I'm prepared to do whatever it takes. And I say to them, well, you're not prepared to do whatever it takes, because what you're prepared to do is work harder on the tools. You think work is working on the tools. Yep. And people say to me, yeah, I'll have a day off on Thursday to do that. But you don't think about it as having time off when you're doing your invoices, do you? What is it?
It's having that time to set aside to do those invoices, to do the quotes, to work on the business, to be able to grow the business.
So it's all the work on the business, work in the business. It's still work.
Exactly.
It's not time off.
No.
It's just allocating time to different places of work so that you have the free space in your day for life. Mm-hmm. Key distinction, was there something ever in your life, or have you just grown up like that you've always thought like that? Because I mean, for me, we'll get back to these guys, but that's the key thing that people have to get. There's decisions to be made, and it's the way you treat work. And I don't say work-life balance. I say there's life, and work just happens to be part of your life. Yep. Was there something in your life? Was it the way you were brought up, an instance, where you worked to start with? What's brought about this way of thinking for you?
Yeah, so I've always been very structured and always liked to have systems or plans in place to work towards or to work with. And having these things in place, it may not have been perfect 5 years ago, but the last couple of years I've seen it a lot better, and the last, say, 6 months been really, really good. Having that kind of structure in place, especially having a young son and a young family, is key to me. So if I want to spend time with them, I need to have things in order to be able to spend time with them. Yeah,
so focus. You've made a decision. That's the important thing in my life. How about for you, Mitch? Is there similar for you to make the day work, the week work, life work? What is it?
Yeah, mine is very much the same as Matt. I have those designated times that I'm working on the different aspects of the business. I guess I don't see myself as a marketer, I see myself as a business owner, and those aspects are part of being a business owner.
Yeah.
So
is that the key, Steve?
Oh, look, I think everyone's made the mistake over periods of time that they stay late, and I've done it myself, and you just keep working. You might not leave the office till 7 or 7:30 at night, and then you come back and you go to bed tired, you wake up tired, and it's not you can't keep functioning like that. So what I've done now is put it in place, and I finish at 5. When the office closes, I go, unless I've got an appointment where someone can't meet during the day, and I'll do that after work. Other than that, I'll go home, and then come back and do it the next day.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
So that's a definite decision for you. And I'll often quote John McGrath from McGrath Real Estate, talked about 7 till 7, 7 days a week. But the impression I certainly got from John in listening to him talk was that he then switched off. He was very good at relaxing his time, and he was driven. Nothing wrong if that's what you love to do and whatever, but make sure it's doing what you love to do.
I've been lucky enough now to be able to put staff in place that have taken that pressure off me, so that I don't have to do that work myself. And it's allowed me now to pull back and have that time off.
But again, if you didn't put staff in place, where would you be?
With the amount of work that we've got now, I would be still working late, which I'd have to go in early and start and finish late.
So do you it reminds me of the Peter Drucker quote again, which comes up all the time. People overestimate what they can achieve in 12 months and underestimate what they can achieve in 5 years. So you work really hard now and get busier and busier and busier because you seem to be getting somewhere further now, but in fact, it costs you in the long term by not doing that. Would that be a fair thing?
Yeah, it does, because you don't become productive.
Yeah.
If you're working longer hours and you're not doing the job the way it should be done, if you're tired or you're thinking about you should be at home, you're not doing the work the way it should be done. So you're better off going home on time, having a good night's sleep, spending the time with the family, and then come back the next day and do it properly.
Yeah. Make sure it works.
Yeah.
Really important to me that people make sure their life works. I knew 3 people that were literally hit by the bus, and 2 of them died, and 1 was turned into somebody who couldn't fend for themselves. A young child, 34-year-old, I think, was one of the guys that died, and the other one had just retired. and hit by a bus. Like, life's, you never know, so make the most of the time. Sorry to end on that sad note, because what we're here about is, let's make life work. We've got to get managing what we do with our time down so that we're having a great life. So, Matt, to finish up, one action that people can take away to better manage how their day works, what would that be?
The word that comes into mind is productive, being productive, and being productive will get stuff done, and
Yeah, be productive. Mitch, for you?
I would say structure. You need to structure your day, plan that out.
Yeah, put the structure in place, be productive with it.
Yep.
Steve?
Look, I agree with both those.
Yep.
You need to put the structure in place to be productive. If you don't do that, it's all over the place. You need to plan your day, know what you're doing, and so that your staff need to know what they're doing as well.
Yeah. So plan, again, it comes back to where we started with you of it's spend the time to put the plan together, know what you're doing with the week, have the organisation, the default diary, even if it's just for that week, of know what's going on, and then work that plan, make a decision to get home and spend time with the family, enjoy life. Yeah? Great, thanks guys, they're great. There's a whole lot more we could go on with time management, and we see how all of these different themes link together. All the different ideas overlap with one another. So again, thanks very much for being here with us today. Steve McBeath from CSBM Real Estate at Thornton. Mitch Beattie, Mad Cat Marketing, obviously can work anywhere in the marketing, specialist digital marketer, and Matt McFarlane from 2M Electrical, covering Sydney and the Hunter Valley. Thanks again, guys, for being here. I'm Marcus Crowick, your host from Amazing Tradies. Thanks for being part of the Amazing Tradies Business Show, a Stronger Than My Excuses show. Thanks once again to the Gateway Motel at Rutherford for hosting us in their function centre, which is available for all your functions and conference needs. We'll see you next time. Bye.